former head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Bob Joe, has of course come out to say that the goalkeeper of Nigeria, that's of course the goalkeeper of the Super Eagles, talking about Stanley Nwabali, needs to be very much protected by his teammates. What he says that it's not just about the defenders now, but of course the midfielders as well as the attackers. They will have to ensure that they try as much as possible to be able to protect Stanley Nwabali so he doesn't face too many shots that could of course make him error prone. Stemming from the fact that Nigeria would very soon take part in the FIFA Men's World Cup playoff in Morocco. Well, of course, Bob Joe was answering questions concerning Nigeria's chances of qualifying to play at the 2026 edition of the World Cup. So, of course, we could hosted by the likes of the United States of America, Canada, and of course Mexico. Well, Bob Joe was very optimistic that Nigeria would of course qualify, but then of course I'm talking about Stanley Nwabali. Well, a lot has been said about Stanley Nwabali in recent times. Now let's of course analyze what Bob Joe has said. Now Bob Joe is saying that goalkeepers have to be protected. They've been talks about the Super Eagles players not of course liking themselves, right? A renowned journalist, Matthew Adafi, the one who was of course popularly known as Celebrity, has of course in the past said that the Super Eagles players of course do not like themselves. Well, I've been able to watch the Super Eagles matches in the last few games, right? I watched the game against the Benin Republic. It wasn't a terrible game. It was a very good game for us, right? We scored 4 unreplied goals that ensured that we qualified for the playoffs. But then if you of course look at the body language of the players, right? It looks as if Stanley Nwabali was basically on his own, right? It looks as if he was on his own, and like I would skip saying because there was a little scuffle between him and Wilfred Ndidi in the course of that match against the Republic. There was also a little fight between him and of course the centre back, the left-sided centre back of the Super Eagles, Kabir Bassey, right? Of course, I didn't know that players quarrel during the course of the game, they fight during the course of the game. But my point will always be that Stanley Nwabali is of course facing a lot of pressure at this point in time. Yes, he made a mistake, I think against either Lesotho or against Rwanda. I have to check that again, right? That of course cost us a goal. I think it was against Rwanda. That of course cost us a goal, right? But we've gone past that game. Since that game, I played another game against the Republic, and he did so well by of course keeping a clean sheet. Okay, goalkeepers make mistakes. It's not a case of he has made a mistake, let us drop him. And I was happy for the fact that the coach against the Republic decided not to drop him, and that's one of the things that of course I love about Eric Chen, that he doesn't listen to the outside world in terms of the players he selects. Now, for Stanley Nwabali, I think he has done fantastically well. He may not be the most talented goalkeeper in the world, but then of course he's been able to give us what we have craved for in our goalkeeping department, which of course consistency in between the sticks for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Now this is it. We wanted a goalkeeper going into the 2024 edition of the African Cup of Nations under Bosi Pesero. Well, of course, Bosi Pesero scouted this young man who of course plays his football in South Africa, I think with Chippa United, right? He came in, did a wonderful job. In fact, he saved us a couple of times during the course of that African Cup of Nations that of course ensured that we qualified to play in the finals. Unfortunately, we lost the trophy in the hands of Cote d'Ivoire, who you can of course call them the host team or the host nation, right? But that aside, but my point will always be that the Super Eagles will have to continuously protect their own. It makes no sense when yes, of course, criticism happens, but leave it in the dressing room. I just think they're too indisciplined as a nation or as a people, right? I don't like this case of I'm bigger than you, I was here before you, or if I talk to you, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, right? My point will always be that if your teammate is you're thinking his head is not there, you can of course ginger him. I like what Trisecon said when he made an interview some time ago. He said when Stanley came into the team, he was talking a lot during the course of the game, and he had to tell him to calm down. He also understands that it could also be Stanley's way of course ensuring he gets gingered or he gets to communicate with the centre backs, right? That's how you communicate. You don't communicate by trying to put down anybody, because nobody's going to of course nobody wants to be put down in any way. So for Stanley Nwabali, he has my full support, 100%. I'm urging him to of course forget what the outside world, what they are saying, what some journalists are of course saying that he should be dropped. A mistake, I mean, that didn't of course cost us the match. What's the heck about it? Goalkeepers make mistakes every time. Every match in the Premier League we see that. Even in the League we see that. In the Serie A we see that. That goalkeepers of course make mistakes, right? But then we can always encourage our own. Stanley has done well since of course joining the Super Eagles of Nigeria in 2024. He has done amazingly well for us. So I don't think there's any need for changes. I saw a journalist a few days ago, of course, speaking about Stanley Nwabali and saying that Stanley considered 3 goals in South Africa. So what? Goalkeepers concede 5 goals. Goalkeepers concede 6 goals. It doesn't affect their confidence in any way. I think Stanley is a strong character. I also think he can handle situations like this. So let him be. I'm particularly speaking from what Bofijo has said, and he says this guy needs a lot of protection, and his defenders, his midfielders, and of course his strikers, we need to protect him. We need to ensure that he doesn't face too many shots that could, of course, ensure that he makes a mistake. Because when a goalkeeper faces too many shots, it could lead to errors, and then errors sometimes lead to goals too. So the Super Eagles will have to be very good. Hopefully, in a few days' time, they will go into camp, and then they will be involved in those playoffs. That would, of course, most likely see them maybe play 2 or 3 matches. Depends on how these things go for them. So for the Super Eagles, thank God, we wish them all the best.